I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to rebuild our country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or labor rights, well, on behalf of all Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to rebuild our country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. When PNP or labor rights, broken loves all are we are marching on to progress. Jam down la via we. Everything Melissa broke down, we are gonna build back. We are gonna build back better than before. Every house we broke down, we are gonna build back. That's how we're gonna have blessings in store. Time come to rebuild together. Cause Jamaica is our home. We are stepping out of darkness into the light. We're gonna build stronger women.
Good morning, Liberites, and good morning to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Laborite alive. Good morning, my people. Good morning. Now, guys, we are going to ask some questions this morning. I got a few news bulletins that I want to play that will disseminate information. The question is this morning, have you seen Bucky Massa? He has gone quiet, and we're going to talk a little bit about why he went quiet, It is my mother-in-law's birthday today, my people. So I want you guys to help me in wishing her a happy birthday this morning as well. So if you can, you type in the comment section happy birthday to Missy Lane, my best mother-in-law ever, so big up yourself, mommy. Happy birthday. And I wish you many more birthdays to come. See, love you very much. See, let's roll out the morning shout outs and then let's get into it. But before we do that, don't tell me if you not see me, tell me if you not hear me, tell me if I'm blurry. Let's roll out the morning shout outs. Aubrey, big up yourself. Sylvan, good morning. Good morning to my beautiful mother-in-law. Good morning, mommy. Rosalie, big up yourself. Johnny Butler, big up yourself. Everton, big up yourself. Jean Williams, big up yourself. Elements Grill, big up yourself. Nardia, big up yourself. Christine, big up yourself. Nicola, big up yourself. Alice, big up yourself. Who else is here? Corinne, big up yourself. Good morning. As the live grow, I will continue the shout outs. See? So here is the first news bulletin of the morning, my people. Actually, before we get to the first news bulletin, I told you guys last night that I had some news from the Jamaica Observer about Jamaica drilling for oil, right? So United Island Gas PLC have announced that a specialist vessel is preparing to mobilize for a crucial offshore survey over its wholly owned Walton Marant license offshore Jamaica. The work represents the next tactical step in evaluating a frontier exploration asset that the company estimates to hold over 7 billion barrels of prospective resources. So they are saying that potentially in the Walton Basin off the coast of Jamaica, there lies 7 billion barrels of crude oil in Jamaican waters, and they believe it to be there, the people. We have been hunting for years, and we have not found anything, but they believe that oil is there, so they're about to go and try to find it, the people. Thankfully, by the time they find it, Donald Trump would be out of office, so he won't be able to invade us and steal it. See? Now let's get on to something more serious. Listen to this, my people.
This morning you would have noted something a little bit different that we don't usually do. We don't usually necessarily take on misinformation and disinformation or information that is false. That is changing. We are going to have to do so in this context where something is said that is not true. We will be countering it. We will come with the receipts. We will play the videos from months ago. We have the records and we will do that. We have to focus on being able to respond to misinformation and disinformation. There's a lot of that out there in the public sphere, and we cannot leave it unchallenged. And so you will be seeing new approaches from the Ministry of Information in terms of dispelling those things. And in many instances, we call them misinformation and disinformation. Those are fancy words for lies. And so where there are lies, we will be correcting them. And there have been many of those. And I know Minister Morgan will be working very closely with me in relation to addressing that issue of lies that are proliferating, and we will give you the facts. And that's why we ask you to tune in here, because we bring the ministers, we open them up for challenge and allow them to tell you the work that we're doing, and we tell you what we are doing in cabinet, because what we do is not secret. We're doing it because we've been asked to do this by the people of Jamaica, and we take that role very, very seriously.
So, even on this platform, on many occasions, we would have asked, our government to take misinformation and disinformation seriously. And they are taking it on board, and they're going to start to take it seriously. And I welcome that. I have been saying for the last year, maybe year and a half, that our government needs to do something. Not only me, but a lot of persons that come on this platform or came on this platform, was saying that, I can remember Dennis, I can remember Father That Night, Marlon, several others were saying that, the government need to take disinformation and misinformation seriously. And the government is actually working, on a law that will govern misinformation in Jamaica. I was told that, persons will be looking up to even 15 years in prison for spreading misinformation. See? So I see that as a good thing. And if you are people like Marvin and Angay Stevens and Angay Bryan and those persons who woefully spread misinformation, lies, I don't know where them get from it, but those persons, people like them should be arrested and charged and sent to prison if necessary. See? So let's get to the next clip, my people. Good morning, Melody. Anita Earlford, good morning. Carlin Clark, good morning. Who else is here? Yeah, good morning to you guys. All right, let's listen to this one.
And again, on the matter of the cashless operations, the program is ready for full implementation of the student transportation card on February 1st. Again, I'm glad PS Troop is here and Minister Dixon and Crawford and Morgan. I want to take the opportunity to encourage parents and students who have not yet signed up for their student transportation card to do so now, as the drivers will not be accepting cash and it becomes effective February 1st. Again, you may visit JUTC or your...
So people that takes the bus and pay cash, drivers won't be the we are talking. So people who takes the children who take the school bus and pay cash $50, they are moving to a cashless system where you will have a card that you put the money on instead of paying cash. When drivers collect cash, the cash might go missing sometime. They are also susceptible to being robbed. So it is wise that the government move to a cashless system so that the safety of the drivers are not in any question. The opposition elements grill never support any of the laws that was passed in the last 9 years. They did not support any of it, but we still managed to pass them. See? So with that being said, I hope that they can come to a consensus. If we cannot give people 15 years, let's 7,
The registration form. Unfortunately, from September, we have been offering free service as introductory, and then of course with Melissa. And now we are into a new year and it is unsustainable. So I want to make it very clear that come February 1st, if you do not have a student card and you have not topped up your student card to pay the subsidized fare of $50, you will be going back to the old system of paying $300 to $600 a day and going through the trauma of competing with the adults for transportation. So it is both cost effective for you to get the card, safer for your children to travel that way, and more convenient. So again, the warning has been sounded. Come set February 1st, students who do not have student cards will not be allowed to take the rural school buses. I'm appealing to the MPs, to the councillors, to the churches, to the NGOs, to the government entities. We need to get the registration up in the month of January so that the buses will operate at optimum.
This morning you would have...
So big up yourself, Steve. So what the minister is saying that, the fare for the students, they are subsidized $50 for one journey. See? As opposed to them taking a normal taxi, which will cost them anywhere from $200 to $600. Now you as a parent have a responsibility to go and to sign up your child for the card that they will need to top up to use the bus. And the government is trying to move the bus from cash to cashless because it is convenient for the government. When the driver collects the money for the fare, it is not a must that the government will get all of the money. And we need to put back the money for these buses that we bought. So the system can't continue to run free, my people, right? So get your kids situated, get them sign up, get them the card, and top up the card so they can continue to go to school, right? We have some more information by way of a news bulletin from JIS. So listen to this, my people.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, January 16, 2026. With the official launch of the Shelter Relief Program on Thursday, government is now prepared to disperse grants of up to $500,000 to eligible beneficiaries.
So remember, when we talk about the government getting ready to disperse the funds by the middle of January, and somebody said no, the end of January, and I said they said by the end of January, but I heard through the grapevine that by the middle of January people would start to see the money because they have already done a lot of probably 70,000 plus assessments of damage. So by the middle of that month, January, they would start to disperse. So they're going to start to disperse come this Monday, my people, which is today.
Under the SRP framework, individuals may access support through 6 initiatives: the restoration of owner or occupant family shelters, roofs, government-led repair, partnership-led repair, NHT support, deployment of modular housing solutions, and relocation or regularization. An initial $10 billion has been allocated to the flagship program, Roofs. This will benefit persons whose homes were assessed and verified as having been affected by Hurricane Melissa, with special consideration for vulnerable groups.
Good morning, Valerie. Thank you very much. And I had a blast back home.
See a distribution.
If I had enough money, I would not come back to the UK, but I need to work to garner the funding to make my return. But if I had enough money, Valerie, trust me, I would have stayed home.
Of $75,000 for minor damage, $200,000 for major damage, and $500,000 for severe damage. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness explains that $75,000 is an unrestricted ceiling that allows for the money to be used for roof repair, replacement of household items or school supplies, or to replenish food stalls. However, for those receiving $200,000 and $500,000 for major and severe damage, $75,000 can be used for rehabilitation purposes, while the remainder is restricted to roof repairs only.
From a national recovery standpoint, we need to see the roofs go back on. And for this program, where $10 billion is about to be spent, it is important that all the recipients or potential recipients understand the program so that they can get the maximum benefit.
The Prime Minister said persons will only be able to get one benefit under the 6 components of the Shelter Recovery Program.
If you are an owner of several houses, you can only get one benefit. Right? This is not for the greedy, this is for the needy. I have to be clear on that, which is why we do an assessment, we take your TRN, we make sure you are uniquely identified so that you can't get a benefit here and then come over and get another benefit there. What that does is deprive someone who really needs a benefit where you would have gotten twice.
Meanwhile, under the deployment of modular housing solutions component of the Shelter Relief Program, the first...
as the Prime Minister said that, I remember, I was in Jamaica, and this would have been probably a week or 2 ago. Sean Paul came into our community and was giving out box of goodies and bags of goodies. And as they were leaving, one man was found to have collected 7 parcels for himself. That is 6 persons that one person has deprived of getting something to sustain them for the week coming. I can understand why what people then think like that. I mean, I understand what kind of thought process they have. Why some of we so gluttonous and why some of us are so greedy. And it is people like them that make good people don't want to help in certain situations. And that was a crying shame, my people. Something are going with the phone from winning.
Shelter relief program, the first batch of 500 pre-built semi-permanent units are expected to arrive on the island by mid-February. They are part of an overall 2,500 units being procured. The units are being financed by the National Housing Trust and will be installed under the new Social Housing Program, NSHP.
These are units of approximately 300 to 400 square feet with a kitchen, bathroom, and living area. These units will be deployed by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development through its social housing program, along with the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development.
Prime Minister Holness says both ministries will be responsible for identifying the beneficiaries as well as the deployment and allocation of the units.
These units are going to go to the most vulnerable, persons who won't be able to find the first cent to pay a contractor or a carpenter, so you would be looking at possibly, an elder, someone who's shut in, a mother with 6 or 7 children and nobody to help. These kinds of vulnerable cases.
Dr. Holness was speaking at the launch of the Shelter Recovery Program on Thursday. Still on Hurricane Melissa response, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is transitioning to cash-based support for affected households following the completion of emergency food distribution. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the more than 700 assessors wrapped up the in-kind relief phase, during which approximately 98,000 food kits were distributed through the World Food Program. In addition, 6 million meals were provided by World Central Kitchen, benefiting over 130,000 people from the hardest-hit parishes. Speaking at this week's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister Charles Jr. said the shift to cash assistance was aimed at giving families greater dignity and flexibility as they recover. He pointed out that the World Food Program had already begun dispersing cash grants, with over 10,000 people benefiting so far.
The World Food Program, who has been one of our major members of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee, launched in December 18th to be exact, and their goal is to meet the needs of 16,000 households, up to 50,000 individuals, with each household getting 2 cycles of $34,000 grant to them.
Beneficiaries were selected using the ministry's assessment list, and payments are being delivered through established remittance agent networks. At the same time, UNICEF is supporting the government's efforts to strengthen shock-responsive social protection for children and vulnerable households.
The initiative aims to reach 40,000 children, including children who are on PATH or in-PATH households, with specific focus on those households that have pregnant and lactating women, children under 6, and children with disabilities, along with expanding the coverage to an additional 1,000 children in the disaster-affected households.
Public internet access is being rapidly restored across several parishes, with 22 Starlink sites already installed under the Universal Service Fund's Community Wi-Fi program. That update comes from Telecommunications Minister
restoring connectivity at library, school, post offices, and community centres across Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Elizabeth, St. James, Trelawney, Manchester, and St. Anne. These sites are already serving as lifeline for communication, education, and community coordination.
The Telecommunications Minister says 64 additional Starlink sites are scheduled for installation by the end of January. In addition, 116 site assessments to identify communities most in need of connectivity have been completed, with the process expected to be finalized by the end of January. Minister Vaz says the assessments guide where resources are to achieve the greatest impact. 3 community Wi-Fi sites that were damaged by Hurricane Melissa have already been restored using a combination of Starlink and solar technology.
Procurement is also advancing for network equipment, tablets to support the ongoing assessment, solar packages, and signage. The target remains clear for full restoration by March 2026.
Electricity restoration in hurricane-affected areas is nearing completion, with 93% of customers in the most impacted parishes now back on the grid. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says restoration work is actively underway in Ferris Cross and Hodges in Westmoreland, as well as areas of St. Elizabeth. This is targeting approximately 2,000 JPS customers who are still without power. Minister Vaz says crews have already installed 100 of the 1,000 poles required along 40 miles of roadway in the affected areas.
Westmoreland has 34,603 customers. The customers that are out at this time is 17,096, approximately 49% of the customers in Westmoreland continue to be out of power. But let it not be lost that in December, the middle of December when I spoke, Westmoreland was at 18%. They are now at 51% in a matter of a few weeks.
Minister Vaz further explains that 51,000 customers island-wide remain without electricity. Of that number, 30,000 are ready to be reconnected, while 21,000 are not yet ready for connection due to infrastructure damage.
What we are going to do with JPS, with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, with JSIF, is we are going to identify those areas to see how the government can target those areas in conjunction with JPS to get them ready to receive electricity. So we'll be at 96% by the end of January, early February. But if you take those 21,000 that are not ready for connection, which JPS cannot be held accountable for, we would have succeeded in delivering on our commitment for early restoration by end of January, early February, as against the last quarter of this year.
And finally, the National Water Commission is similarly reporting that 93.9% of its customers across the island have been fully restored to the standards they had been receiving the commodity prior to Melissa. Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samuda, made the announcement during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He indicated that full restoration had been achieved in the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Manchester, St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary. Further progress is expected to be bolstered by the full restoration of the Roaring River system.
We expect to be able to run the Roaring River system at full capacity. What does this mean? It means 30,000 Jamaicans will have water in 24 hours after the restoration of that system.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry.
So, just wanted to give, some information. Still a lot of customers without electricity in Westmoreland. However, there's a lot of places that electricity have been restored. Most of it is due to infrastructure damage. Poles are down. Wires got displaced. But they're doing a good job so far in the restoration work and rebuilding the grid. See? Have you seen Bucky, Massa, my people? Have you seen Bucky, Massa? So, what is actually happening now, my people, is that Mark Golding has gone quiet. So, what you is in or after an election, the opposition leader usually goes quiet and then, start to rebuild his or her party. Right after Melissa, Mark Golding was very vocal. The country is going through a disaster. And, was going through a disaster. The country is actually recovering well. In the recovery of the country, this is where the opposition voice need to be the loudest right now. I don't really care, to be honest, if he says anything or not. One knows that me not like him, none at all. But, you know, these are people who are vying for leadership. And I believe it to be a tactic. If you notice, Dayton Campbell has gone silent. He pop up now and then. If you don't notice, Ian Scales, who is very vocal, him pop up now and then. If you look at Zulika Jess, who is usually vocal, she pop up now and then. I see a little thing with Alfred Draws going on, but I will address that separately. He is mixed up into in some corruption right now. And this is the same person, by the way, who were making a lot of noise over a drill that we needed to buy to save the lives of children. Good morning to my beautiful wife. Good morning, baby. See, we needed that drill to save lives, because what you often see in Jamaica is that, you know, somebody will have a child that is severely ill, and Jamaica would not have had either the expertise or the equipment. And where you find the expertise, they don't have the equipment, right? Somebody messaged me yesterday saying that I appreciate what I am doing, but the healthcare system in Jamaica needs to be better. That's the only problem they saw. So I instructed that person, which is a lady, to go on IG and check out Dr. Christopher Tufton's page. You will see a plethora of things happening. Big up in a Dennis. You will see equipments being bought. You will see healthcare facilities being upgraded and reopened. You will see new health facilities opening. You will see all different manner of stuff happening in healthcare if you go on Dr. Christopher Tufton's IG page and look. These are things that were non-existent in the system that we took from the PNP in 2016. Many a times you would need, for example, a CT scan. And none of the hospitals in Jamaica had a CT scanning machine. You would have to go to a private facilities or a private facility to get that done in whichever area you live. The government is actively installing those kind of machines in our public general hospitals. Right? Now back to old Bucky Massa here. The PNP is taking a tactic that will not work, by the way, because we have a government that is on the ball, they're on the money, and we have a prime minister that has his hand firmly on the wheel. He is a manager, and he is managing the affairs of Jamaica. What they are hoping to do is to remain silent until they see something. The PNP I am talking now. They are hoping, see, to stay silent so that they can, whenever they see something that they can harp onto, they will jump on it. Because they are a propaganda machine. The PNP is not ready for leadership. Their leader is not even a leader. You know? And the PNP, like I've said on many occasions, is lacking leadership. There's no leaders in the PNP of today. Now, I would have said this on many occasions. I know that the Jamaica Labour Party cannot lead forever. There will come a time when the PNP will have to return to power. But what we must make sure, my people, we must make sure that we do not put them there ever when they are lacking leadership. When they are to speak for the nation. In a time like this, where they made great contention about monies being loaned to JPS to restore power, they've made great contention about a lot of things that should help the Jamaican masses to get through this disaster. And when that did not work, they are now silent. They are silent because they have nothing to offer to the Jamaican people. We have been saying that for the last 9 years. Now, when you look at the tribulations that Jamaica have suffered under the PNP, and when you go back even further and look at the tribulations and trials that Jamaica has suffered under colonial rule, any right-thinking Jamaican, would refuse a leader of this brothers here stature or his ancestry. See, I hear people saying that Mark Golden was not involved in a lot of what went on. Mark Golden was not born. Mark Golden isn't like that. Now, when you look at Mark Golden's interaction with the people of Jamaica, and when you look at Prime Minister Holness' interaction with the people of Jamaica, the difference or the contrast is stark. You see the difference. You see that one is loved by the people, and he loves the people. And you will see that one is scared of the people and is disgusted by the people. That I can't say nothing else. That is what I see. I don't know only, but that is what I see when I see Mark Golden interact with the people. See? Auntie Sharon Talk TV, big up yourself. Nicola, big up yourself. Joan Baker, big up yourself. Good morning. It is not unusual for an opposition to go quiet. But in a time like this, where 450,000 people is looking to the PNP for leadership, those persons are being let down because Mark Golden, who was begging our Prime Minister for a position, I don't remember everything, our politics, was begging, please, one so-called Prime Minister to their position of power. Begging, please, give me a position in the recovery efforts, because he wanted to portray an image of doing something. So while one was not afforded to him, he has now chosen to remain silent and say nothing. Now, if we elect these people as leaders, who to tell that they might do something that the Jamaican people disagree with, and the next thing you know, the government of the day is not answerable to no one, and they would remain silent on any issue, and we, the people, can't get no answer. Who to tell if that's not the position they would take had they been elected? Big up in a Pauline. Kingsley, big up yourself. The PNP should use this moment now to rebuild their party and to build it with some dignity, to build it with some integrity, to build it with some foresight. I don't believe that anybody in the PNP today is of anybody with wisdom. I don't believe their leader understand what is happening in politics. As a matter of fact, if you look at the two leaders for the two political parties in Jamaica, if you look at Andrew Holness, you will see that Andrew Holness, big up in Simone, knows about a lot of what he's saying. And when you contrast it and look at Mark Golding, everything that happens, Mark Golding literally have to read off a script. That tells you that he's not in tune with the politics, he's not in tune with the people, and he's not in tune with whatever is going on. I believe that because the PNP can't find a leader, Mark Golding is being suffered, my people. That is what I believe. I believe Mark Golding don't want to be there, but he is trapped because the PNP cannot come up with a proper leader right now. Because let us take a poll right now. There's 127 of us here right now. Out of the 127, 130 of us is here right now. Out of the 130 of us that is here right now, my people, I want you guys to answer me this question. Now we have Damon Crawford. We have Peter Bunting. We have Dayton Camber. We have Angela Brownberg. And we have, let us say, we are going to push back Lisa and in there. So, out of them 4 people there, let us say that we weren't labor rights. Out of those 4 persons, which one of them only would have voted for as Prime Minister? And I want to be truthful now, my people. Out of them 4 there, Crawford, Bunting, Camber, and Hannah, which one of them would have voted for as PM or to be the leader of the PNP? Any one of them? Darnell, big up yourself. I would vote for none of them, to be honest. 1, years gone by, I would vote for Hannah. But Hannah proved to be somebody that is, that would give up, 1. And she has proven to me to be, two-faced and a hypocrite. And the reason why I say that is when Hannah was in Portia's government, she had the ear of the party and could have gotten a lot of things done. And instead of speaking out, she told the party line. And when Simpson left, she was forced out of the party. And while she was forced out of the party, she had solution for every problem that she could have fixed while she was in government at the time. I believe that somebody that is coming from the younger generation of the PNP, will need to step up now, make their presence be felt, and signal that they, as a young person, would like to take over the reins of the PNP. They must then apologize for what Manley did to the country. Then they must move on to apologizing for what Pattison did to the country. Then they must move on to what Simpson Miller did to the country. And then they must also apologize for the crime that got out of control in the country. They must then apologize for the hardship that they put Jamaicans under with JPS. And they must start to filter out all of the liars, people like Damon Crawford, people like Peter Bunting, People like Mark Golding, Angela Brownberg, Donna Scott Motley, Nikisha Burchell, Zulika Jess, Isaac Buchanan, Alfred Daz, Fitz Jackson, and the list goes on and on and on. They must start to replace those persons with younger minds, fresher minds, persons who come to build a nation. They must remove all of those draconian old dinosaurs who are a set of liars, and they must remove them from the party and start the rebuilding of the party. And only then, when they have something to offer the masses of the Jamaican people, they must then take a look at them again to say, okay, we will give them a chance to see what they can do to run our nation. They must also apologize for the propaganda as well and the lies that the Integrity Commission, along with Mark Golding, told our Prime Minister to try to besmudge him. Come with some actual policies that will make the lives of the Jamaican people better. When we wanted cheaper cell service, we brought in Digicel. See? We now want cheaper electricity, we must bring in another electricity company. Now that we want better governance and better, government, we must prepare ourselves to bring in a third party, or we must prepare ourselves to bring in a better PNP party that will keep my government on its toes. And, we will benefit from it as a people because we will have proper competition. If Labour Right say, boy, me can pay you, $500 an hour, PNP must be able to say, all right, we'll pay you $6, and here is how we're going to make it happen. Not just say, we're going to pay you $6 because Labour Right say, they're going to pay you $5. See, because whoever is in government would have the purse string. They would know if they can do it or not. But whoever is in, opposition must work out and understand that if Labour Right say I'm going to pay $32,000 a week, here is how we can pay 33, and here is where we'll find the extra $1,000 to add to that 32 that the Labour Right said that they would give. Dayton Campbell will naturally fade away, Antia, sorry. Dayton Campbell will naturally fade away. He is one of those figures that, nobody will elect him to the leadership of the party. I don't believe that. I believe he would be even worse than Mark Golding. So, but then again, we are talking about PNP. We are not talking about the brightest set of people on the island of Jamaica. So, it's impossible for them to elect him as leader, to be honest. But it would have been good for us, and we would remain in power. Carlene, big up yourself. Good morning. Rodney, big up yourself as well. See? I see somebody saying that that your boyfriend behind you. I mean, I know I'm a moderator then there for block this person, but that is not my boyfriend. That is probably your boyfriend that is behind me. I am talking about how, your boyfriend came to try and, thief the Jamaican people future when, he has secured generation wealth off the backs of the Jamaican people for his children, but yet he's silent on the rebuilding of our nation. He's not coming up with any idea. I just say we chip out away. So no tell me if you not hear me. Tell me if you not see me. Tell me if you not did hear me. I only did see me. Tell me if you... And it happened again. So that that they are reporting my life, and it started when that person that is called 773 Dream came on. It started to chip out. Alright? Sorry, baby, me unhide him by accident. But I try to take him off. Same time you take him off, so. Alright, me hide him back. Yeah, man, so that started to happen as soon as that person came on the live. Oh, the PNP, they are actively trying to take me down, my people. they are scared of me. They cannot even hold a conversation with me. I don't know why, because me not have two hands. Me might have fang, but me not have two hands. Me not go bite them. Cause one, would a bite the way. We are gonna crack up with teeth them. Cause PNP they ain't tough. And bossy. See? Anyway, they're actively trying to take me down, not only here, but if I ever go, I went live on TikTok for my birthday, and within seconds of me going live, I was restricted, So wherever I go, they're trying to fight me down, but it is hard for them to take me down on this medium here, because I am not breaking any guidelines. On TikTok, you do not need to break any guidelines. Somebody just report you for any bullshit and TikTok take you down. And that is why I no longer use TikTok, my people. That is why you guys don't see me over there anymore. So me can't bother with them, the kind of bullshit there. Somebody need to create a platform, and if I had the money, I would have done it. Create a platform where persons come and express themselves, and where they are blatantly breaking the guidelines, then we'll take them down. And we would have to prove it first, not take them down and then prove it after, because what TikTok normally does is take you down, and after appealing, they will restore you. So what is the point of that? See? Yes, the PNP cannot handle the truth, and they cannot fall me. I understand, like our Prime Minister, much of what I speak about, and I do my research oftentimes before I come on here, so I know what I am talking about. And it is not, I know in my heart of hearts who is better and who is best for this country. I have lived under the PNP's leadership. I have lived under the JLP leadership. I've had my problems with them. Like I said, under the Bruce Golding government, my father was victimized, and cost him his job. A lady by the name of Joan Gardner Webley victimized my father, wrongfully dismissing him from his job that he held for many, many, many years, long before I was born. Over 47 years my father gave to the government of Jamaica. And Joan Gardner Webley came in as a flip-flop PNP, came into the Labour Party, was given a position, and she victimized my father under the Bruce Golding-led government. I did not blame Bruce Golding, because, this was Joan Gardner Webley's doing. And I know her not to be a Labourite, but a PNP. She have finally gone home back to her party now. And she can't even win a seat, my people. She would love to come back to the JLP right now. I can't tell her first hand. But, I did not blame Bruce Golding. And when Andrew Holness came, Andrew Holness was a breath of fresh air. And the development of my country is important to me. So I am a staunch Labourite. And not because, my father had some hagglings with the JLP, that I would turn my back on this party. And Jonas have came and made this party better. And Jamaica is better off for it. See? So, big dirty Joan Gardner Webley, move up. And move up like a strike you. And you, me blame for the death of my father. You stress him out. and make him get brain hemorrhage. And he end up on dead, Joan Garda Webley. And yet me know you're gonna wake up in your nice bed this morning, but me hope you walk out the road and want chuck lick you and kill you. That's something I like you, Joan Garda Webley. I can't tell you right now. See, there are some people, they are inherently wicked. And when you put them in positions of power, them come to maim and to destroy and to tear you down because they think that you are smaller than them. See? And that is what I see in this brother here that is called Bucky Massa. You know, he come to tear we down and tear down Andrew Holness because he think Andrew Holness is smaller than him because he's a multi-billionaire. But, you know, as the good Lord will have it, you know, Andrew Holness continue to lead this nation and leading it well. He is so doing, you know, and big up to my Prime Minister, big up to my government, you know, they are doing a tremendous job. We cannot state it any clearer. You know, Jamaica is benefiting from a government led by Andrew Holness, and it is the absolute truth. You know, I am one of the persons who is the ultimate patriot, and I love my nation. And whenever I see something or someone that show disdain and show malice towards my nation, I get up in arms. You know, I do not tolerate the disrespect of my nation. I do not tolerate the disrespect of my nation's people. And that is what the PNP represents today. They are a disrespectful bunch. They only care about political power. Their leader only care about gaining political power because he wants to etch his name in history as a prime minister. The Jamaican people will not allow it. We must not allow it. And at the next general election, all of us in the diaspora, you know, must head back home again and signal to the PNP that we mean that the building of our nation will continue and must continue. You know, I often think about going home and getting a job. Yes, I think about it. But after working for many years for people here in the United Kingdom, you know, I sometimes look at it and I say, do I want to go home and work for somebody else? But conditions are in Jamaica where I can leave and go home and start a business and prosper. Reason being, the government have put in place, you know, things that you can use to prosper. For example, you do not pay any, as a small business, you do not pay any business rate taxes until you have earned over 10 million Jamaican dollars. See? During the PNP's time, as soon as you earn $3 million, you start to pay those taxes. That is a stark contrast, a massive difference. By the time you make the $10 million, you have some money put on one side to go back into the business, you make some profit, and you have reserve money. That fuel enterprise and fuel business. So instead of me coming home and working for somebody, I rather to hold out and start my own little enterprise and work for myself. I'll get up as early as possible and I go to bed as late as possible to build my thing. But Jamaica, under the leadership of the JLP, is now ripe for the picking as it relates to business. Guys, there are 153 of us who ask for 100 thumbs up per live. I'm gonna see if you can get me to at least 80 thumbs up now that there's 153 of us. So double tap the phone screen or hit the like button, you know, and see if you can get me to at least 80 thumbs up. Element Grill say I should go easy on her. I will not go easy on her, Elements Grill, because it is her actions why, my father is dead. It is her actions why I don't have a father. It is her actions why my kids don't have their grandfather. My daughter here in the UK never got to see her grandfather. But she used to ask me for, it is now that she's a bit older, she understands that he's dead. But she used to ask me for him all the time. She wanted to go and see her grandfather. Joan Gardy Webley deprived my children of a grandfather, and deprived me of my father. My father left when I needed him the most. When I had no one that I could run to except him. And Joan Gardy Webley cost me that, my people. So I hope that one day, the good God Almighty answer my prayer and strike her down with lightning. But anyway, my people, I'm going to go and get ready for work now. And I will soon this evening for the evening segment. See? Big up on yourself. Much love. Big up all 143 persons who are still here. Please subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. Big up all 74 persons. We did not get the 80 up, but big up all 74 persons that gave us a thumbs up thus far. And I will soon this evening for the evening segment. See? Big up on yourself. Much love. Shower labor rights.